Good evening everyone. Really cold this evening, so I'm going to be quite quick. I finished up the connections for the fuses in the corner. See the one for the alternator, 40 amps. I really don't like going any more than sort of 30 in these plug-in fuse holders. The 150 amp fuse is in behind here, so we have battery into this fuse. The car is fused from this side, so that if any of the high current stuff goes faulty and blows that fuse, at least the car's still running, so you have lights and so on. That's about the only consideration I've done. These type of fuse holders you need to be careful of. The securing screws are inside, and when they can come up, they can't actually touch these. So I've put a bit of insulated material in each of the screw holes to stop it coming forward. And there's actually a bit of no-mix paper at the back, which is a special insulating paper. But you could use most things, mylar, bit of plastic, anything, just to stop these ever going towards the back and touching the metal. So at the moment we have a 30 amp fuse in for the car, 150 amp for high current circuit. From the high current side we have the alternator, 40 amp fuse. I'll put the cap on that in a minute and that's it sorted. And now I'm going to go and do the connections onto here. But when I do that, I'm going to use an inline connector. And one of the questions that I recently seen on socials was regarding the crimp connectors and how these goes on the special tools. Joe McMillan was showing how much a fantastic job he did with the connectors on his, and people sort of said it's a hit and a miss when they've tried it. So I'm quickly going to show me doing one of those fuse holders to plug in line at the bench before I actually come in and plug it in here. Okay, hope you can. I'll tilt it down a bit. You don't need to see my ugly mug, you want to see things like this. First, need to strip the end, and preferably without damaging it. Now, twisted wire, I like to double these up conductor wise at the end so that they're nice and bunched. See that they're roughly, or at least as well as the camera can do it now. Available from most places. You want to see the part number on it, there you go. And we will load the connector in. But first, don't make the same mistake I make all of the time, and that's put the insulating boot on first. It's really frustrating, making off a lovely end on the cable and then going, damn it, forgot the cable. Anybody that says they've never actually done that, very sorry, I don't believe you. So you won't see close up in here, but the crimps actually have a little dimple in them. So what we want to do is we want to sit it in the tool, ready to crimp. Now I'm putting it in here, making sure that it goes through all the way and sits where it needs to, and that's it done. Now as you'll see on here, that's it crimped onto the conductor, and the insulation is a strain relief. Sleeve down, ready to go. Now we have these things, insulated ends. They do the job, but I far prefer these when I get away with using them. See how easy that was? Not difficult at all, was it? And there we have it. That's that piece we've just made installed. Join is up here, tie wrapped on, so nice and secure. Fuse easily accessible. Now I leave the top off this one at the moment because what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to come back to this and we'll plug in the tester and we'll check to see how much current it does actually draw with brake lights and ignition running and revs up, and we'll see if that 10 amp fuse is a good guess or not. And here we go with fusing the wiper motor, one of the easier tasks on the car. Unplug the white wire, which is ignition source live. We have made up another one of these leads, one end where the white wire goes, and dear me, not so good with using the camera at the same time. You get the idea that we've now put the fuse in line. Get this tie wrapped up there, so it's nice and secure, and the job's a good one. And yet another one of those little loops, this time inset it with the brown wire, which is the life for the horn. So 7.5 amp fuse. I've done the same on the wiper motor the other side, so that should be us more or less done inside the bonnet area. Compared to the engine bay, which probably took me about an hour and a half, this is literally 15 minutes worth of work. So all that's left to do is to make sure some things are still working. That's of course if I can find the keys. Oh, there we go. Yep. I actually put the fuse in. Nope, I didn't. So, spotted a deliberate mistake. And now one needs to think where he actually left the fuse. Oh dear, one of these evenings. One of these evenings. That fuse. Of course, one of the things you're going to have to do now is you're going to actually have to carry a kit with these fuses actually in it. But to be honest, if once we select the correct size of fuses, we should be okay, and if they do blow, doesn't matter if you can change the fuse, something is definitely amiss. Okay, I think we can see that the ignition is working, so this is back to where we were. Now it's time to actually do the actual binnacle parts, and I'm still in two minds whether to pull it apart and individually fuse, or to pull off the ignition barrel and do it from there. Now the flasher unit's going to be easy enough. That's going to be another one of those little red loops. So I think I picked up 10 of these for next to no money. And when we, of course, when you go looking for things, there's absolutely nothing where it's supposed to be. I was actually looking for one of the tools that should have came down with me. If it's not here, I'm going to be rather annoyed. Be back in a minute. Okay, found what I was after. Fantastic little tool. Mimics the original Lucas one made by Robert Picton. You'll find him on Facebook if you want one, or Bobby Sharman Imp Club forums. But this tool has a little notches on either side, so that when we go to take the ignition switch out, this is we're done. Now, how many of us have spent ages with a set of those pliers, bend them out, screwdrivers and all manner of other things, when there was always a tool for the job. Nice and tight. So the binnacle, sorting the binnacle will be up next, and what will be part 6 I think it will be. So catch up with you guys then.